Okay, thanks for showing up, those of you that showed up, and I'll have a podcast available after the fact. And I'll do some editing, and it won't be as rough as the actual live thing here. But I just can't go without talking about this a little bit this morning. And that is the government shutdown business. It's really getting insane what we're getting to. The point that we've gotten to with the way that politics have been designed through a gaslighting process to disenfranchise people, to create this big rift based on a political party like a religion, which a political party is not a religion. What's going on? From 10,000 feet, the big view is that Congress is not putting their doing what they're saying that they're doing. I mean, that's the best way to put it. And that means that while they're telling you one thing and all over television saying one thing, it's absolutely not true, and it's absolutely disingenuous, and it's more than disingenuous. It's coming to the level of propaganda. What's going on today, right now today, Congress, the Senate is supposedly meeting and talking about it, and maybe they'll even get a continuing resolution. You'll hear about a CR, a continuing resolution. This is these things that are not budgets that this Congress can't put together. They always blame, they haven't been able to for a while. And instead of budgets, they do these continuing resolutions. And the continuing resolutions just say, okay, we'll just keep going status quo for another X number of days. And it could be for 1 day or for 6 months. And the Congress themselves make it up as they go along. And they had pushed, this will be the fourth continuing resolution in a row. This means that Congress isn't doing a budget. Now, because if there was a budget, they wouldn't need continuing resolutions. They wouldn't need CRs. And there's no budget. And why is there no budget? Because Congress hasn't been working on a budget. You know what they've been working on? They've been working on taking away your health care. And they've been working on raising your taxes and giving themselves personally, as well as all of the corporations, literally every corporation in America, big tax breaks. It brings down, they didn't take away the loopholes. So now when they say the tax is 15% or whatever they say, it's really, in reality, now corporations have a 9% tax rate, and you and I have a 30% tax rate. If you're listening to me, you probably don't make much more money than it'll take you up out of this tax rate. So we have so they've been working on this, taking our health care for a whole year almost. And that was going nowhere. They were just, what an evil group of people, hateful, spiteful people, the Congress seems to be. So they've been talking about trying to do the health care, take that away, and then doing this big tax drop, and they haven't been working on the budget, which is what they should be working on. Now, if Congress has one job and one job only, it is to keep the frickin' government running. They're the government. They're the ones that keep the flowing. Their job is to keep the government going, and they failed. They failed this weekend to keep the government running. So they failed their one job. Okay, now pointing fingers at Democrats or at Republicans or whatever, that's all bullshit. The bottom line is this: the budget is not being done by the Congress while they're jacking around trying to move. Well, they're not only trying; they're moving America's wealth from the middle income people to the highest class of people, and they're lying to you. They're just lying to all of us. They're lying. If you hear what they're saying is all weekend is that the Democrats are holding a hostage over DACA. Well, let me tell you something about DACA. DACA expired like 115 days ago. 3 months ago, DACA expired. And why did it expire? I'll tell you why it expired. Because it was an executive order that Obama had signed. And why did Obama sign that executive order? Because after he kicked the Republicans' ass so badly in 2008, and the Republicans came back with a big report, internal report audit thing, and their big takeaway from that was they need to bring in more minorities and a wider diversity because the country is changing, and a bunch of old mean white guys can't keep running things forever. I mean, literally, you can go back and look, and this is what the Republican Party decided about themselves. And then, so they need comprehensive immigration reform, which is a dog whistle to Republicans from years gone by. So this DACA thing. So Trump, in his clearly obvious method that he's trying to destroy everything Obama and erase Obama, he killed Obama's executive order. Now, Obama did this executive order to create the DREAM Act, because Republicans knew themselves and created a big report that they weren't doing immigration right. And then move forward a year. No, they didn't do jack about it. They made this big report and said they knew what they needed to do, but instead they turned the complete opposite direction. Okay, that's all fine and dandy. I mean, it is what it is. But now we get to, 115 days ago, months ago, and Trump comes in and kills that executive order. So he killed the thing that the Republican Party said that they needed, that Obama put in place. Now, when Obama put in place, he said he wants the Congress to pass laws so that his executive order would be null and void. Everybody knew it. He said that. The problem is the Congress doesn't do jack shit unless it puts money in their pockets and in the pockets of their campaigns, because of the whole Citizens United, really scary money thing that's going on. I'm going to go back to the budget, this continuing resolution BS. DACA could have been passed. It's got bipartisan support. 90% of the Congress on both sides of the aisle support DACA. Okay, 90% on both sides of the aisle, and if you go to the hardcore conservative studies, they may say as low as 65%, but even the people that want it the most to be unpopular say 65%. Okay, so it's just popular. Right now there is legislation right now that Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan could put on the floor of each place that will solve that, both the DACA business and what's the other straw issue they're talking about? CHIP. Straw issues. DACA and CHIP are straw issues in this whole business. What a straw issue is it's something you throw out along with the stuff that you really care about, and then you throw out some straw issues and you don't care about them, but they look like you're asking for more than you want, and they get people to thinking, the other side to thinking that maybe they really do care about this. And straw issues, they really don't give a damn about one way or the other. They can, the people that present the straw issues, they can throw them away. It doesn't matter. It doesn't hurt them one way or the other. So they've kept DACA and CHIP. Oh, CHIP expired. I'm sorry. DACA 6 months ago when Trump signed the executive order. Okay, I'm sorry. 6 months ago, Trump did the executive order on, killed Obama's executive order on DACA, and he gave Congress 6 months to fix it. So here we are. Even when Trump killed it, he knew that it needed to be fixed, and he gave Congress 6 months to fix it, and they haven't, and that's why we are where we are today. Okay, so DACA, as part of this budget shutdown, is a complete straw issue. There's right now, in an hour, we could have agreement on both DACA and CHIP with both parties in the House and the Senate, and then McConnell and Ryan wouldn't have anything to say about it. You know what? You know why they're not in voting? Because neither McConnell nor Ryan will allow the vote to go to the floor. Ready? Both houses of government, Congress and Senate, have bipartisan legislation. They can right now, if McConnell in the Senate and Ryan in the House would allow this legislation to go to the floor, It will be voted on, bipartisan, and passed with no problem at all. They've had that for months. For both CHIP and DACA for 4 months. DACA alone for another 2 months after that. Longer than that. So they could have passed this anytime they wanted. What they wanted to do, and I know, here's where, it's a conspiracy theory if you're right. If it turns out you are right. I don't know. It isn't anymore, right? So that's what they're doing. I mean, they held these back to use right now, as they're using them, as fake bargaining chips to stoke up their base and that's all, to soak up their base and hope they get reelected. And because the donors that they give so much money back, the refund to during this tax thing is nuts. Listen, I'm wandering a bit. Straw issues, and that's what DACA and CHIP are. So what this really about is that on television last Tuesday, not the Tuesday of this week, I guess 2 Tuesdays ago. Anyways, on television on a Tuesday, Trump had the press all in with their cameras into a big conference meeting that he had with the leadership from both houses to try to slam through the budget stuff. And the long and the short of it was that during the meeting, Trump said he'd sign anything that they gave him. After Feinstein put forward why don't we just do a clean DACA and then we'll work on the budget right then. And Trump goes, I love that. That's exactly what we should do. Republican McCarthy says, wait, Mr. President, that's not what you're saying. What you're saying is, and he reframes it in a much meaner, horrible way. Trump says, no, that's not what she said. She said we need to do something with love for the DACA. I swear to God, this is what Trump was saying. We need to do something with love for the DACA people, and then we can work on the comprehensive immigration. We can start the same day. An hour later, he said. McCarthy cuts him off, says, no, that's not what you mean. You mean that we're never going to allow DACA ever, no matter what. And Trump leans back, his arms are folded, and he leans back and he says, look, you guys know what you're doing. You put together a bill and bring it to me, and I'll sign it. I will sign whatever you bring me. And you can look this up on YouTube, and you can ask anyone that was, watching TV that day, because we all saw it, that's what happened. He said, we'll do it. And so, great. That's what Chuck Schumer now is calling the Tuesday Trump, okay? So they go out, and with that big assertion in front of the world and everybody on television live, Schumer and they go out, and the Congress works out a deal. We're talking about Senate, works out a deal. And Schumer and Durbin, that's a Republican and a Democrat, go back to the president to tell him they call him at 10 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. This is 2 days later. Mr. President, we've got a deal. You said you want us to get a deal. We've got a deal. This is 10 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so Schumer and Durbin set up a meeting to see the president at noon. So they show up in the Oval Office at noon, 2 hours later, and they walk into a room that has Stephen Miller, General Kelly, Tom Cotton, and half a dozen other people that hate people of color. And it was a big ambush meeting. And that's the meeting where Trump said, why are we letting so many people in from these shithole countries? And he was referring to Africa, all the countries on the continent of Africa, and Haiti in particular, and in particular Nigeria too. But that's part of the African continent, right? And he talks about the Nigerians. Once they see America here, they never want to go back to their huts. He talks about Ethiopians, Haitians being, that place is a shithole. Everyone has AIDS. And then he says, why don't we bring more refugees from European places like Norway? Okay. Norway. A lot of refugees from Norway these days. I can't remember hearing about them, but I'm sure they must exist, right? Or they wouldn't just be lying about that, would they? No. Okay, so the DACA and CHIP don't mean anything. The continuing resolution is not necessary. Everybody agrees on everything except that when Schumer and Durbin went into the Oval Office, and Trump and all these hardcore Republican haters say it's a piece of shit, they won't do it. You know, Durbin and Schumer are shocked. And then he's talking, and then the president calling it shitholes and everything else. And Graham steps up and calls him on his bullshit right there in person when it's happening, which nobody denied for a week. But yesterday, Cotton was saying never happened. He didn't hear such a thing. This Cotton guy is a lion sack of shit, is what he is. All of them are, but this Cotton guy stepped out into propaganda territory. And that's really where we are with this whole thing, is propaganda territory. So they're holding it. So why isn't the government running? Why won't they do the government? The Republicans are out there saying, "Well, we're giving them everything they want. We're giving the Democrats everything they want, and they're still holding the government hostage." Okay, I'm going to back up again for 5,000 feet and say that the GOP, the Republican Party, runs the government. They run the the White House. They run both parties. They run both sides of the House of the Congress, both the House and the Senate. They run the Department of Justice through the massive federal court justices they're cramming in. They pretty much run the SCOTUS too, the Supreme Court and the whole judicial system. So they run all this stuff. They put appointees, not only regular appointees, but Trump has put a political appointee into each branch of government, into each department. This is someone like in the Soviet era. They put someone from the government in the business, in the government office, to make sure that everybody's doing things the Trump way. Otherwise, I don't know. I doubt they're taking him out and shooting him yet, but that's only half in jest. So let's put it this way, and let's say this: Republicans do not have in the Senate. Republicans do not have 51 votes. That's what they need in the Senate to pass this budget. Okay, they need 51 votes. They have 51 senators on the Republican side. They've done everything on purpose. They've excluded anyone but themselves in all the meetings. They have 51 votes. They can't. How can the Democrats hold the Congress hostage, or hold the budget hostage in the country, if their votes don't matter? There aren't even enough frickin' Republican votes to pass this thing. There aren't 51 Republican votes. And yet the Republicans are out saying that the Democrats are blocking the thing. There aren't enough, even the Republicans don't have it. This is the big secret horror of the whole thing, right? Right? And that's kind of where I wanted to go with this, I guess, just to hit on this. What's really happening with the government shutdown? It's a fake thing that McConnell is doing because the president can't make up his fucking mind. Thanks for listening.